This week, something happened that could completely change how people work forever. And no, this is not one of those overhyped AI headlines that disappears in a week. This is real, it's already here, and it's a lot more powerful than most people realize. A single AI prompt can now control your entire computer. It can open applications, navigate your system, join meetings, write code, send emails, browse the internet, and basically operate your machine like an actual human sitting in front of it. And the craziest part is, you don't even need to be at your computer while it's happening. You can trigger everything remotely, even from your phone. This system is called Computer Use, and it was just released by Anthropic. What it does is fundamentally different from anything we've seen before. Up until now, AI has mostly been assistive. You ask something, it responds. You copy, paste, maybe tweak a few things, and that's your workflow. But this changes the entire interaction model. Now you give one instruction, and the AI executes the entire chain of actions by itself. Think about that shift for a second. You are no longer doing the work with AI, the AI is doing the work for you. Technically speaking, Computer Use turns Claude into an autonomous operator. It visually interprets your screen, interacts with UI elements, clicks buttons, types inputs, switches between apps, and completes tasks just like a human would. It's not just generating text, it's actually using your computer environment as its workspace. It can open your calendar, find your meetings, click into a Zoom call, listen to the conversation, take notes, and even generate responses based on context. It can write code, test it, fix errors, and prepare a pull request. It can draft emails, send them, organize files, and manage workflows across multiple applications without constant supervision. Now here's where things start to get even more interesting. You don't need to sit there and babysit it. You can initiate the task, walk away, and it continues operating. That means your physical presence is no longer required for many digital jobs. And if that sounds familiar, it's because we've seen a similar pattern before. This is starting to look a lot like Android versus iOS all over again, but in the AI agent space. On one side, you have OpenClaw. It's free, open source, runs locally, and can be connected to different models. It gives you maximum flexibility and control. On the other side, you have Computer Use. It's paid, closed source, currently limited to MacOS, and tightly integrated with Claude models. The trade-off is exactly what you'd expect. Open systems give you more power, but also more responsibility and risk. Closed systems are more restricted, but easier and safer to use. Security researchers have already pointed out that open agent systems can create a dangerous combination of capabilities. Access to sensitive local data, exposure to untrusted web content, and the ability to act autonomously while retaining memory creates a very complex risk surface. If you don't fully understand what the system is doing, you are essentially handing over control without visibility. Even some developers working on these tools have openly said that if you're not comfortable using command line interfaces and understanding system behavior, you probably shouldn't be using them at all. Computer Use takes a more controlled approach. It asks for permission before accessing applications, limits itself to allowed directories, and tries to operate within a defined boundary. That doesn't make it harmless, but it does make it more accessible to the average user. But let's move past the technical comparison and talk about what actually matters. What happens when people start using this in real work environments? This is where things stop being theoretical and start getting uncomfortable. Imagine applying for a job. The AI writes your cover letter, tailors your resume, and submits applications automatically. You get invited to an interview, and instead of preparing for hours, you have the AI listen in real time, analyze the questions, and generate optimized responses instantly. Now you get hired. Your calendar is synced. Meetings are scheduled. The AI joins those meetings, listens to discussions, summarizes key points, and even speaks on your behalf using a voice model if needed. It then takes the assigned tasks, writes the code, prepares documentation, and schedules submissions to simulate human-like productivity patterns. From the outside, everything looks normal. Tasks are completed, deadlines are met, communication is happening. But behind the scenes, the actual human involvement is minimal. That's not some distant future scenario. The building blocks for this already exist right now. And this is exactly why we're seeing increasingly aggressive predictions from industry leaders. The idea that a significant portion of entry-level white-collar jobs could disappear within a few years is no longer extreme. When the core tasks of those roles can be automated end to end, the economic logic becomes very straightforward. It's not about humans becoming obsolete in general. It's about specific categories of work becoming automatable. The more structured, repetitive, and digital a job is, the more vulnerable it becomes. What makes this moment different from previous automation waves is the level of abstraction. We're not automating single tasks anymore. We're automating entire workflows. Sequences of decisions, actions, and outputs that used to require a human in the loop are now being handled by a single system. That fundamentally changes the equation. Because once an AI can reliably operate a computer, it can theoretically perform any job that is done through a computer interface. And that covers a massive portion of the modern workforce. At the same time, this doesn't automatically mean total job collapse. What it does mean is a shift in what is valuable. Oversight, strategy, system design, and the ability to manage and direct these tools become more important. The people who understand how to leverage these systems will have a massive advantage over those who don't. But there's also a deeper question here, and it's not just about productivity or efficiency, it's about trust. If AI is attending meetings for you, writing your code, sending your emails, and making decisions on your behalf, then what exactly is your role? And how do organizations verify who is actually doing the work? The line between human effort and machine output starts to blur. And when that happens, traditional ideas about performance, accountability, and even employment itself start to break down. So when people ask whether computer use is worth the hype, they're asking the wrong question. The real question is what happens when tools like this become normal. Because this isn't just another feature. It's not just a slightly better chatbot. It's a shift from AI as an assistant to AI as an operator. And once that shift happens at scale, there's no going back. We are entering a phase where interacting with a computer directly might become optional for many tasks. You describe what you want and the system executes it. That changes how software is used, how work is structured, and how value is created. The future of work is not just being reshaped, it's being redefined at the interface level. And the uncomfortable reality is that this transition is happening faster than most people are prepared for. So the question you should be asking yourself right now is not whether this technology is impressive. It's whether your current skill set still makes sense in a world where your job can be executed without you. Because that world is no longer theoretical. It just arrived.